everybody, and welcome here today to a panel show par excellence. We have Swansea's finest. Hello there, Laura and Richard from Dezrez and Dezrez Legal. Are you well?
Very well, thank you, Simon.
You are good. And look, he's all mic'd up. We've got him full Jerry Maguire. Chris from Country Properties. How are you, sir?
Very good, thank you, Simon. Good
stuff, excellent. Well, look, we're here today to talk about quite an interesting and exciting tie-up, isn't it? That the tie-up of CRM. Dezrez obviously famous for that side of things, and quietly and very successfully, you've got Dezrez Legal, who have been really making a name, haven't they? I think it's fair to say, Laura, in that area, delivering some really quality level of service for clients. You're not allowed to say anything yet, Chris, because I know you're already desperate to jump in. But if it's okay, I just want to get a bit of background here from the guys, just to understand where did the feature, where did the product come from? How did Dezrez Legal come about, and what are you here today to really shout about?
Are you going, Rich, or am I? Well, this is like halfway between the two of us, isn't it?
Yeah, you pick up the Dezrez Legal side and I'll talk about Resi, so you can go talk about the history of Dezrez Legal.
Oh, the history is my favourite topic ever.
Multi-award winning.
We are multi-award winning, yeah.
This shows my complete ineptitude as an interviewer, where I left it open there so that you both managed to say, is it me? So I'm going to take control finally and say, Laura, will you just talk to us about Dezrez Legal?
I'd love to. We've been going for about a decade now, Dezrez Legal, in various guises. We've changed our names a couple of times over the years. We were originally affiliated to Home Information Packs. And I think over the last 2 years, we've really developed a strategy of working hand in hand with customers of Dezrez and the Resi software group, which seems like a really obvious thing to do, doesn't it? But until that point, we mainly dealt with work from customers outside of that group. And the main kind of issue that we wanted to overcome and really be great at for agents was this issue of communication and updating CRM systems in order to get information back to estate agents. Because Chris and and the guys in their estate agency branches are really busy people. Conveyancers are really busy people, and a lot of case management systems that conveyancers use require a double entry of data in order to get update information back to their estate agency groups. And I know from experience that very rarely happens 100% of the time, 100% correctly. And we had a really great opportunity to use a software product that was really popular with estate agents and used widely amongst that group. And to be able to plug into that using the developers that we've got in-house to provide real-time updates via our system without having to log into something else. So it really provided the extra kind of lift up for us developing a service from having conveyancers who really want to talk to estate agents and give them updates, because we know that they're in the middle of a chain and can provide some really kind of useful information for us, but at the same time leveraging that technology point that I think has been kind of underdeveloped really, kind of over the last certainly 5 years. So we saw a bit of a gap there, and Rich was really open-minded and helping us to achieve it. And so we went for it, and here we are with the lovely Chris, one of our best supporters.
And I think that's a really interesting. Why do you think it has been underexploited? Why hasn't there been the technical investment that you guys have ploughed ahead with?
Because I think conveyancing is quite often a low margin piece of work, which doesn't give conveyancing companies enough breathing space to be able to invest in something like that. So they tend to try and find something off the shelf, which by virtue of the fact that it's off the shelf isn't going to fit them,
good luck with that.
Yeah. So I think there's that point. I also think that conveyancers, if I'm honest, I think have been a little bit behind in terms of utilising technology to assist with managing cases and pushing them through, because they're lawyers and not developers, tech people. But I also think that it's quite a diverse sector, isn't it? You've got your really large players who, are owned by businesses who aren't conveyancers, who put that investment into these areas. And then an awful lot of very small conveyancing firms out there that just don't have the ability to do it. So it was a nice little area for us to kind of slot into and make the most of our affiliation and ownership of Dezrez with.
Well, you notice that I'm here to unify the industry as usual here. So I'm not going to make any facts-based jokes about conveyancers today, anything like that. I'm going to really big up both sides. I would say you tried to be a little bit divisive there, though, Laura, because when you said that Chris, as representing estate agents, were really busy, you also said that conveyancers were really busy, and you left us in the CRM world just out like we're twiddling our thumbs in our eyes.
Oh, you're always out there. Everyone knows you're busy, Simon. Everyone knows you're busy. I don't need to do that.
Absolutely refute the 3-day working week accusation. If I ever get to that much, I will let you know. Rich, let's talk to me about it, because actually Laura she was actually quite nice there. She didn't tell me to shut up, because I did make the point you've been quietly coming along, but actually you've been doing this a long period of time now, haven't you? And I think we sit on a lot of similar groups together, and I keep hearing the success stories of you guys picking up gongs, awards, customer satisfaction levels here. Just talk to us from your point of view how that has evolved over the years.
Yeah, I think Laura alluded to it there. We've been around for 20 years as a software company, and then brought in the legal side 10 years ago. Yet it's taken us up to about 24 months ago to actually start really bringing the two closer together, and that has been a huge benefit for our customers, and a big win for us. All of our work now comes from our resi customers. So a while ago we were taking panel work into our legal side of the business and not getting paid what the team deserve. They do a fantastic job. Just go and look at our Trustpilot reviews. We get 4.6 out of 5 on there, and Chris will attest us as well. Our customers, the legal customers, absolutely love us. It's humbling, I think, to see what the team do, and some of the feedback they get is amazing. So I think
sorry, I was just going to say, I think humbling is one point there, but most people will be reacting with complete surprise here that because this is not an industry, and let's be honest, we've joked about it, but there is a bit of a them and us thing going on there, isn't there? The squeeze on conveyancing fees in terms of what the conveyancers themselves can make often leads to, well, how can you invest time, energy, and a proper service level there? So to be getting those kind of reviews is from your from your clients is truly outstanding.
And I really think that's to do with the level of service the guys provide, and also having that really clear link up with the software as well. So getting details about the sales progression, the chain, all those things within the software really helps. And Laura will give us some stats, and I'm sure on the speed of transactions that we can get from having that link up between the CRM and the legal side of the business.
It's
so
having the 3 things together, isn't it? It's having the concentrating on comms and looking after clients, having the breathing space to be able to do that, because we charge a little bit more. So we're not the cheapest out there, and we don't want to be for a reason. But it's also having the tech side of it, and also having the relationship with people like Chris. So, we all want the same thing, don't we? At the end of the month, we want to be paid. We want those files through to completion. So having those 3 things together, and the tech item was the last thing, I think, in the 3 that we were missing.
Okay. And Laura, have you ever been brave enough to say to Richard, I told you we should have been doing this years ago? And
every board meeting we have, Simon, I told you so. It's every board meeting.
And thanks for sending me that text message where you reminded me to ask that as well. Chris, you've obviously heard us in our little prop tech ivory tower and conveyancing ivory tower here. Ultimately, you're the people at the end that are experiencing it. And if something's going on, it's a horrible position that you're at the coalface and everything else. Do you mind just talking to us about your, how you came to use Dezrez Legals? Clearly, you've been on the software for a while now, and how it works for you, and maybe how it's different.
Okay, so I mean, we've been using Dezrez as our CRM for some time now. Richard probably knows better than I do. Started off with Dezrez 1, then went on to Resi. Yeah, we were an early pickup on Resi, and I've got to say I love it personally. When we were approached about Dezrez Legal, and we from my point of view, solicitors are the bane of my life. They very rarely reply to emails. They don't like us phoning them. And when we were approached with this prospect of being able to push a button and instruct through our CRM, we don't have to do anything else. They deal with everything. And then it goes on to we get daily. I personally, the way I've got it set up, I get a daily email. I come into the office and at 8:30 in the morning, I've already had an email from Dezrez Legal telling me what they did the day before. So I'm up to date on every single case that's currently going through. And on each one, I can click into it and I can say, I want some more information on that. Or I can send a message and say, I understood the mortgage offer was in, it's not been updated on here. Is that right? And I get within an hour a message back from them saying, well, we've heard it's in, but we haven't actually got the hard copy yet, so we've not ticked it off as received. And it's that sort of thing. It's that communication that for me makes my life so much easier. As I'm sat here at my computer with Resi open, anything that happens, anything that gets updated on any of my cases, I get a little pop-up in the bottom of the corner telling me that there's just been one of my cases updated. So there's none of this chasing a solicitor for updates. There's the vendor, purchaser, get the same information through as well. So they're getting updates. Everyone's getting updated. And it makes my life so much easier. Then to top it all off, they're lightning fast. We tied up a deal on the 22nd of December. We've already exchanged on it a week and a half ago. And bearing in mind, we had a 10-day slowdown for Christmas. Most solicitors shut up shop for 10 days over Christmas and they're gone. We won't get hold of them until the new year. That didn't appear to happen. I can't say it didn't, but it didn't appear to happen. And I say for them to get a house from sale agreed to exchanged in the current market where the average is knocking on for 6 months in 6 weeks, it's a deal maker for me, and I'm finding it easy to sell the option of Dezrez to clients on the basis that they're getting it done quicker, they're efficient, their communication is spot on, and that's it for me. That's all I need to know.
Well, I've heard a few things there, Chris, that's going to jump out. The first is I was going through every conveyancing review I've seen elsewhere. I'm not sure I've seen the words lightning fast ever attributed to somebody somewhere else. That's pretty impressive. But secondly, as well, hearing you and hearing Laura's now mentioned the word a couple of times, communications, comms keeps coming back more and more. And that's ultimately what this is all about, isn't it? Relevant, timely communications, rather than making that call where it's just has anything changed. You're actually making them specifically about information that you've already got. Would that be fair to say that you're
absolutely
constructive conversations?
Yeah, and for me, I guess you get a vendor or a purchaser chases you, and you're forever saying, "I've sent them the solicitor an email. I've tried phoning them. I get fobbed off all the time when they're in a meeting, and they'll call you back, and they never we're used to saying that to vendors, and then of course, do they believe us? Do they just think we're fobbing them off? So unless we're dealing with something like that and sending them email immediately and saying, oh, we've left a message for the conveyancer, we've sent them an email, they don't know it's happened necessarily. They phone us, we're telling them that's happened. With this, they're getting the communication, we're getting an update before we're even wanting it, and then we're passing that update on if it needs passing on. So it's making us look better, the fact that they're doing their job so well.
And that's a really important point, isn't it? I sometimes fall guilty about, just finding out the reviews from the agents about the suppliers. But of course, ultimately the people that matter are your own clients there. So that feedback comes through very strongly, does it? In terms of your own clients are feeding back to you as well, that this is a service well done.
Exceptionally so. Yeah, I mean, everyone's been singing their praises, and I've got to say, I'm even going to go as far as I've gained an instruction last week because I recommended them Dezrez Legal whilst I was there on the valuation. Said, would you like me to get you a quote? Got a quote. They were that impressed with the service they got at that point from Dezrez Legal, in that she said she'd phoned other solicitors and was still waiting for a reply with a quote. She got a quote within 15 minutes of me referring her. And then was impressed that she's then instructed us and she wasn't decided on between us and one other agent at the time, but that actually has gained me an instruction. Well, that's another £5,000 in my pocket because it's a £5,000 fee.
Chris, Chris, have you not heard about the right move thing? Never tell a supplier they've done a really good job. So lightning fast, one an instruction. I mean, we're on a roll here. I don't want to jinx it. That is really, really useful insight there. Laura, I can see you smiling
Try not to smile too much.
There. That nervousness about jumping on here seems to have disappeared on hearing that. I suppose, in all honesty, Laura, that must be great for you to hear. Is it that surprising, or is this something that you are striving to achieve, on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think what Chris is coming back with is exactly the thing that we've sat in a room and actively tried to create as a service for our customers. It's always at the front of our mind that, my mind personally, is that we do have two customers here. We've got a client who we want to get into their home as quickly and as professionally as possible, whilst doing a good job and limit any issues that they're going to have if they ever want to move again, because obviously we want to retain our good name. But also someone like Chris provides us with repeat work through Dezrez Legal and is incredibly important to us. Plus, he's got that extra reach through chains, which means that we can get things through our pipeline much more quickly. And I think the tech point and the link up between the two businesses via the software helps facilitate that, but it doesn't create it. Just because we've got a technical link between us and the agent doesn't mean that we're never going to speak to them again, because that would not work. That obviously will not work. So, to have essentially two businesses working together to provide that great customer service for a customer means that we're both paid more quickly, and our customer is more satisfied with the job that we've both done. And that feels like a bit of a no-brainer for me. So it's fantastic to hear that Chris is experiencing that at such a level of frequency, and that clients are recognizing it, because we all know that conveyancing isn't an easy thing, that it is a bit of a grumble mix, that there are difficulties there along the line. So to have a partner to move that through and help a client with is invaluable. Yeah. It's like having extra members of the team on board. And I would hope that our agents feel the same way about us.
Just try and hold yourself back from saying you'll just need one more instruction to pay for this, because you're already proving that, obviously, with him there. One thing that you just said there, though, stands. I mean, as you said, all the best ideas are simple ones and everything else. But just that benefit of not having multiple systems where chain information is bouncing around, isn't it? That's got to be that. Again, we come back to comms here, but it just stands to reason, doesn't it? If you've got it all in one ecosystem per se, there, you're going to be more joined up. The communication is going to be more accurate and more relevant, and the whole organisation should just be slicker, shouldn't it?
It does, and it means Chris is making fewer calls so he can get on with what he wants to do, selling houses, and we're having to pick up the phone less. So we're getting on with what we want to do, which is getting people moved. So the more that we can do to get that information out there, to reduce a phone call or an email, the easier it is for us to hit all of those kind of customer service and timeline points. So yeah, it's really important. Comms are really important. The tech item allows us to get out what has happened to an agent, and it gives us the breathing space to be able to pick up the phone or send an email to let people know what hasn't happened and what we're doing about it, which is the thing which clients always come back with feedback on, that no one told us what hasn't happened. We always have to chase you for it. And I think the tech item, the tech link up, and the way that our agents are really clicking into that and engaging with it mean that we've got the time within our organization now to do that work, to tell people what hasn't happened and where we're going to go, how long we think it's going to be until we can move that forward again.
And something that many people won't know and have the luxury, but it's never just about tech, is it? It's tech and people, but the large part of the people bit as well comes down to the working environment. And I've been lucky enough, when you've let me in into your good offices, it is a fantastic working place down there, isn't it? I mean, you really do have it's a great buzz. It's technically, you've got everything at your behest there. And I guess having the people, again, just the obvious stuff in the techies upstairs or downstairs, whether they're with your teams there, must be a wonderful kind of, must be a magnificent boon to be able to deliver that service.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we really focus on is our culture. Our culture is really important to us, and we kind of two separate businesses, two worlds colliding almost. We've got all the techie guys, and we've got all the professionals in the legal side of the business.
Nights out must be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's great to be able to bring those two together, and we do have a really good working relationship across the business, and that has really helped us work with our clients as well, because customer service is really important to us as both sides of the business. So we want to make sure that we work with people like Chris, and it is very much a teamwork thing. It's not like Chris has to sell, like Laura said, has to sell the service to his clients, and then we have to deliver on the back of what Chris has sold, because we want to make Chris look good. We want to make all our clients look good, so that we then have that repeat business, exactly like Laura said. So it is definitely a teamwork thing that we have to build, and that comes down to the people we've got here that can help do that.
Do you remember, Rich, what the need or the pain point was that you felt that the solution needed to solve? Do you remember way back when? Was there a light bulb moment? I mean, you mentioned obviously hips going back where and when, but when you look at the actual problems around conveyancing and how that works with the CRM, what were those? Yeah. What were the pain points you were looking to solve?
I think partly it was from a business perspective, we weren't getting paid what we should be getting paid for the work we're doing. I think that was key, but on the back of that, to be able to deliver good service and to be able to charge for that service, you have to give a rounded service with all the technology and the people in place. So we had to make more money out of the product that we're selling, and rightly so, because it's a really good service that we provide. And so that was what drove it, really. And I think from a technical point of view, it was just looking around and seeing that when the guys were working with other clients who had different CRMs, it was much more difficult to update them with the information they needed. Whereas now, when we're only dealing with our own customers, we're able to provide that technology link up really, really quickly with us. Basically, our legal CRM is connected into our Resi CRM. So the two things talk to each other really, really well. And we love a bit of integration at Dezrez, Simon. So it was a natural progression, really.
Not happy unless we're integrating with something.
No, if I haven't had a Dezrez integration webinar in a month, I wonder what's going on. Chris, it's easy for us to sit here and talk about, obviously, that they do, and it absolutely stands to reason. You've got to charge more to deliver, like most agents, to deliver a different level of service. But ultimately, you've got to be you and your guys that justify that out to the client base. Is that, in all honesty, an easy pitch? Or once you've got the confidence of knowing what Dezrez Legal can provide, your guys firmly get behind it?
The pitch couldn't be any easier. I mean, when you're sat there saying to people, well, look, because actually for us, when you think about where I'm based in Welwyn Garden City, we're just north of London. The solicitors around here aren't actually that cheap anyway. So Dezrez Legal are coming in around the same sort of price as our local solicitors. Some instances a little bit cheaper. I know Laura said they're not cheap, but compared to our local solicitors, actually you're on a par, if not sometimes cheaper. And yet the communication, and I can't. I know we've said the word communication enough already, but when you're saying to people, look, this is what happens with solicitors, we're chase, and this is what we're doing all the time. We don't have to with Dezrez Legal. The fact that we're able to tell them they communicate so well, and then it's proved to them instantly by the fact they get a phone call. Angie's on the phone to them within minutes of getting the quote data through, and she's giving them their quote, which instantly backs up what I've already said to them. So it's all well and good saying the easy part is getting them to accept a quote because it costs them nothing. Have a quote. They'll sell the service to you. We sell it to them a little bit, and then Dezrez Legal, Angie on our basis, sells it to them completely. And it's so easy. And of course, because they've had that message so quickly, it's easy to believe, and that what we're telling them is true.
And it's a real, I guess it's solving one of the biggest rarities that you see so many agents when they're looking at garnering reviews. They do the famous as the online agents. You go and get it at the listing stage before anything, you're all excited and everything else there. It's very easy to lose that positivity, isn't it, as soon as you hit obviously this progression conveyancing phase, isn't it there? And especially if you've been the one to introduce them, there's a lot of responsibility in terms of that. So it has to go hand in glove together, doesn't it, really, to make that work? But here's the thing I suppose must be quite interesting, Chris. If you are able on the other side of once you've completed as well, that they've said, actually, Country Properties did their job, they sold it in the right time and everything else, and the legal team that they put us in contact with actually made that as smooth as they can do. That's quite a nice double whammy, isn't it?
100%. It's everything. Obviously, anything we refer always there's some sort of reputation connected to us then because of it. So if we've dealt with previous legal panels that we've used in the past and recommended people, and they've been okay, but there's always been a letdown here and there. And I'm, to be brutally honest, I'm sat here now happily. I've been asked to will I come on and to give you my thoughts on Dezrez Legal. I initially said, I almost don't want to do this because I don't want everyone using Dezrez Legal. I'm concerned that if too many people use them, that they're going to get. And I mentioned this to Lisa, and she said to me, no, we're very clear. We've got a workload for each case handler, and when they get to that workload, any other work will get put with a different case handler. There will be another case handler employed if there needs to be, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm not finding, we're sending, if I could send every single job to Dezrez Legal, if I could force all my vendors and purchasers to use them, I would do. And I would have them all using them quite happily. And I really can't fold it. And as I've said already, I am their biggest advocate. I just love the service I'm getting.
All right, I'm going to keep digging. I'm going to find out there's got to be something that you don't like. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute. And don't worry, we'll make sure we don't target Welling Garden City in the. I'm assuming you can do that. I'm not really sure online, but anyway, guys, can you just talk to me about Optimize then as well? So what is Optimize first for those people that don't know out there, and what rewards can agents expect from it?
I'll pick this up, Law. So it's probably the industry's best kept secret. This is, Simon. We can be, I guess, accused of not going out there marketing heavily about the products that we provide, and I think we need to change that a bit as a business. You want to talk to a real loudmouthed organisation that has never stopped short of selling himself in his entire career. Yeah, absolutely. You have been a great support of ours. So thanks.
I've told you to get this out there. Yeah, go on.
But I think we haven't massively marketed it, but it is such a fantastic opportunity and product for our clients. So to be able to use this great service, as Chris has mentioned, and also to be able to get money off your fees for your CRM, to be able to get referral fees, be able to get dedicated account management like Lisa is doing with our clients like Chris. All those things just come together to create a really, really nice package.
So it's a package. Am I right thinking it's a package deal, isn't it? Essentially,
yeah.
So essentially, sign up to Dezrez as the CRM, use Dezrez Legal there, and you can ostensibly, from my understanding, pay for the CRM just by getting a certain degree of business, obviously through each month. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And you get all the integration as well. So you get all of that in a package when you sign up for the Optimize agreement, which is for sending a certain number of instructions our way. You get certain benefits in the back of that. So yeah, it's all structured in that way.
Which is good because in stuff you want to be doing anyway, as we found to join it up, it's the sum's almost greater than the parts, isn't it? I suppose is what you're looking at there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, bringing all that together just makes sense. It means that you've got, like we've already said, it's got all the communication in one place. You've got all your integration, all the data that you need. And obviously you're reducing the number of solutions you have because it's all integrated into your one CRM.
So there you are, people. Have a look on your accounts to see how much you're paying for your current CRM, and then maybe want to have a chat with these guys if there's a way of making that go down or even disappear. I'm sure there's a few people that will be keen to have a look at that. And is it available to all agents?
Yeah, all agents will join us on Resi. Yeah, absolutely. You can come and join a fantastic CRM and also get an amazing Dezrez Legal service as well.
But people as well, if they want to come to Dezrez Legal who are using, because there are, just to do my bit, there are other packages there, they can still come to you separately though and take full advantage, obviously without the CRM integration.
At the moment, we're not taking on clients like that. So it's only
Look
our
at you. So
only
you're
our-
getting all okay. You're keeping it
Yeah. Like I said before, you know, like when we were doing panel work, our panels were probably charging the same amount as we are now, but because we're doing it for a third party, we weren't in control of those cases. We didn't have that relationship with our customers. So it just doesn't really make business sense to do that. Whereas when we've got it, you know, we're pretty unique in the industry that we've got a CRM and a fantastic legal service alongside us that we can actually deliver both things together and link them up the way we have. So it doesn't make sense for us to give away the crown jewels to another CRM, does it?
You don't have to apologise to me, Rich. I get it. I understand this. So, I mean, you mentioned uniqueness there. I'm not aware that there's nobody else, no other CRM that's gone down this route. You are genuinely unique in this approach, this solution at the moment.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so
and for me, from a customer's point of view, I use Resi PM as well. I've already got Resi PM for free this month because of the Dezrez legal referrals I've got through, and I get one more legal referral through, and I get Resi free for this month. So I've got 10 days left. There'll be at least another referral. I can guarantee it. So
I'll tell you what, Chris, you don't need gamification, do you? I could just imagine how that is in a manager's meeting. There, it's like we need one more to get this free. That's
absolutely
what you need, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's really, really good. Has it? And that does have a positive effect. I mean, just around the teams and everything else, they are focused on this in a greater way, are they?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, they from my point of view, my staff get commission from the referrals anyway. So there's the incentive there. They're getting their deals through quicker, so they're getting their commission from the sales quicker. It's as cash flow goes, this is the best thing that's happened to my office for a while.
And that's it's a really important, but I was talking to one of the big corporates the other day and they were talking about how, you know, that they were turning around the pipeline in their heyday up to 4 times a year. It was down to 2.5 now. And he was talking about how, you know, the danger they really saw, you know, obviously it's calmed down a little bit, but they thought there was going to be quite a few agents potentially struggling going out of business, not because the business wasn't there, but because the cash flow just wasn't coming through on the other side of things. That the best businesses I've ever known have been those ones that really stay on top of that pipeline turnaround, isn't it? So that's got to be improved again in what you're looking at, isn't it, here?
Yeah, I mean, the whole control in the pipeline has been taken out of our hands a little bit over the more recent years because of the amount of time solicitors have been taking to get the deals through. It's not been for want of trying to get it through. It's the lack of response from the solicitors to, you know, I mean, I've been in this game long enough to remember them going for a dance site quicker than they do now. And you'd think with modern technology, well, why can't it go quicker? Well, it clearly can. It's possible because Dezrez Legal are doing it for us. So it's just frustrating. It frustrates me even more that the other solicitors can't. But what's been really interesting for me is even when we've got, I mean, you'd always say, well, you can only go as slow as the weakest link in the chain. So if you've got a really slow solicitor, but I found that Dezrez have pushed them along as well. It's almost like they've pulled them along with them because they're going at the rate they are, and because they're communicating well with the other solicitor as well, they're dragging them along with them as well. So it's sped up chains even when they're not involved all the way through the chain.
So it's actually a force for good.
Yeah, totally.
That is amazing. I'm putting that on the website that we're a force for good. That's going at the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to nick it.
That's because I've done my homework, Laura. You know me. I always you just think I turn on 10 minutes before and I look at the questions and then
Oh, Simon, this level of professionalism doesn't come like that. I know that you prep.
So I was hoping, do you want me to read out the statistic? Because I always ask for some killer stats, don't I, there? Laura, do you want to tell me that stat, just which is what Chris was talking about in terms of what you're doing?
Our time to exchange. Well, our time to exchange last year and consistently for January and February of this year has been 16 weeks. Which is, you know, still too long for my liking. In all honesty, I'd like it to be a bit quicker than
Laura,
that.
you wouldn't be the person. You wouldn't be the person I would if you said, "Actually, I'm really happy with that." So.
But it's so much faster than we were a couple of years ago, just because of the stamp duty item, and it's so much faster than the national average, which Chris is right. He said earlier on, it's moving towards 6 months at the moment. So you're saving at least 8 weeks there.
It's 20. Is it 22 weeks? So you're 6 weeks ahead of the average.
Yeah. Consistently as well. That isn't a stat from 1 month. That is all of last year and for the 2 months of this year. So one of our company goals is to always knock a few days off here and there to, because the days make weeks. But yeah, it's a really big thing for us. And I think that focus comes from having that relationship with agents because we're part of the Dezrez group.
Thank you, Laura. Chris, what's the ongoing kind of relationship with them? Do you throw ideas back at them as well, or are you just happy that this is all happening quickly? How much is there a kind of two-way conversation between the two businesses?
I mean, if I'm honest, as far as Dezrez Legal is concerned, we haven't had to. As far as Resi's concerned, Richard and Dan and Ross and all the guys that we deal with, we throw ideas at them, and they're very, very good. They're the offers to build things for us and so on. So the relationship as a whole is superb. But say with the legal side, I think they've got it all down to a T. There's I promise you I haven't been paid. The service has been superb.
Just to let you know, I am open to being paid that, and I will say.
I am as well, but I haven't been.
But on this occasion, you haven't had to. Chris, that's fantastic. And so I suppose I should ask the question. Obviously, this sounds absolutely fantastic. The ability to reduce the number of transactions needing to be chased with more targeted sales progression. That's one part of the USP. Highlighting missed opportunities, picking up missed revenue, clearly identifying those in your team who may need more training. That's the second element you highlighted. And leveraging, I suppose, the final part, leveraging PropTech to automate workflows, which, of course, Resi has a lot of, doesn't it? It has that ability to really mimic the way your business works, reinforce it, make it more efficient, and do what technology is meant to do, which is able to do more with less, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's really exciting about it is that I think we've only just scratched the surface of what we could possibly do as a result of being part of that link up between conveyancing and the Resi system. There's a lot of stuff that I've got scribbled down in the back of a notebook that I would really like to get into that integration.
Oh, don't worry, Laura. He'll ignore it for a few years, even though it's played.
If I could just bring it up, at every board meeting from here on, then in 10 years' time it'll be available, won't it?
Just doing that.
But I think that's where the idea item from agents is going to be really pivotal for us, and where we would love people like Chris to be more involved in that discussion. What else could we do to make that even better for you?
I was going to ask what, from your own personal thing there. So it's coming from both angles, I suppose, there, isn't it? It's internal, you can see what needs to happen. The CRM side, they must be able to see efficiencies. How can they make it more transparent, more efficient? And then, of course, the client's feeding that back. That's quite as a competitor, you're going to have to really step up to the plate to keep up with that level of innovation, really, aren't you?
That's what we're hoping for. And I think it's, feedback from Chris to say what we're doing at the moment is really working, means that we can start to shift our attention onto those kind of nice to have, kind of little diamond things on the top of it. I really think the integration point is something that we could really move forward with over the next couple of years and make it even more useful for Chris and his team. And that will always be backed up by my team just being available so that we get that stuff through as fast as we can.
Wonderful. Well, you're lovely people. As I said, every time I come down, I don't do that like a rock star. Hello, Swansea. Hello, Dezrez. You genuinely have got a company culture, obviously, that's something about Wales, isn't it? I think Moneypenny, obviously, they're fantastic as well. You guys doing it. It's something in the water.
We just lush, shouldn't we?
Yeah, maybe that should be your slogan going forward. Rich, anything else from your point of view you think we should know about this? I mean, this sounds good. I'm going to give the last word to Chris, just to obviously I want to just finally find out that he's a fan, because I haven't been convinced of what he's been saying. He really likes it. Rich, from your point of view though, it must be quite exciting as a business.
Oh yeah, it's really exciting. I just think having a professional conveyancing arm, just purely focusing on conveyancing, we're not generalist solicitors that do loads of other bits and pieces. So the reason why we can get our transaction time so much quicker is because we're actually looking at all those little parts of the process, all those 12 milestones or 13 milestones, I think, isn't it, Laura, that we go through, and we look at each one and we go, how can we make that one quicker? What integration can we build that will help that milestone move more quickly? And I think so that just gives us that kind of unique perspective on the entire market and the ability to deliver those increased transaction times, as we've mentioned.
Wonderful. I love the idea there when you said at the beginning of professional. We're going to have an unprofessional conveyancing arm. That's going to be our. Actually, there's probably quite a few of those out there. I'm not going to name them. Chris, I've given you some time now. You know, will you get off the fence? Will you tell us what you genuinely think about Dezrez and their thing? Can you summarise it for us how they are to you? They're not just a supplier, it sounds like, do they? They really are a partner. Do you want to just give us the final word?
Yeah, I think easiest way, and actually I want to add something else in, because you were talking about integrations and things like that. I think the other thing, and it shows how forward thinking the guys at Resi and Dezrez Legal and so on are. They've signed up and they've got an integration with Koju, who you know, the idea is genius. It's just the problem is not enough people are signed up to it yet, and if
mass, doesn't it?
It does, and I guess my initial reaction to it when they tried to sell themselves to us was, well, you know, come back to me when there's some more people on it, and I might be interested. But of course, then I sat back and thought, well, hang on. If everybody takes that attitude, then no one will get on it. So let's jump on board and go with it. And it's, you know, as it builds, that and the fact that Dezrez Legal are involved in that, and if we've got other estate agents and other solicitors that are involved in it, it's going to make the whole chain move even quicker. And it takes people like, you know, some forward thinking like Dezrez and Dezrez Legal to actually get involved in that for it to work. And you know, I'm lucky that I'm involved. You know, we've chosen Dezrez or Resi as a CRM, Dezrez Legal, and the way that they do all of that, they think forwardly like that. It's going to make my life easier in the long run if Koju can pick up properly. So you know, so that in itself, the fact that they're that forward thinking is huge for me. You know, it's great.
Because one of the key things, isn't it? You know, if you are, people often tell us they want to come to us to be kept ahead of the curve, because let's face it, if you're going to invest in something, the time to get to it is at the early adopter stage, as long as it's the right solution where you can make maximum impact with that in the marketplace. There's little fun in actually having to invest in something that every one of your competitors has got, has it? So while sometimes that needs to be done, there's a massive upside to getting to these technologies when they're integrated correctly at the right point.
Absolutely. So for me, I guess, you know, the whole thing for me, Dezrez Legal is making me money. It's saving me money. It's speeding up my transactions. They're a good, friendly team. You know, I can pick up the phone, speak to Angie anytime I like, or you know, other people if I need to. Yeah, but before the quote, at the point of quote, after they've signed up, you know, getting contact with people is you know, a click of a button. It is just everything for me is making our lives easier with them.
I almost felt like I was just going to fade out there, because that for the first time ever, Simon Whale wasn't going to have the last word. That's not actually going to happen. Of course, I have to have the last word. But Chris, brilliant. Honestly, genuinely, I was grinning. Maybe a little less than Laura, but it's wonderful just to hear when that's working and ticking over. That's how it should be, isn't it? And it's, you know, there's too many people out there that kind of sneer at prop tech and they sort of, you know, talk about technology, conveyancing, everything else here. But when you see it working this way, you see the other end of the scale, the other end of the spectrum, don't you? And how much more can be achieved. And it's interesting, you talk about that turnaround time, the satisfaction scores, getting your little email in the morning. You've got a strategic advantage before you even open your door, haven't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Great. Look, just to show why Christopher Watkins is still the #1 journalist, I'm now going to announce that the title for this webinar is Connected Conveyancing for the Resi Community, which is not bad when you consider this is the end. But anyway, we will backtrack that there. I want to say, Chris, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it's a spectacular business anyway. So to hear from people like your good self is really appreciated. It's the only way that in a small industry like ours, we really get to learn about it. So thank you once again. Rich, I'll obviously catch up with you soon. And Laura, don't be a stranger now. You see how easy these things are.
I love it. Whenever you ask me to come back, I'm going to come
My
back.
job's done. Thanks, guys. Cheerio.
Thank you.
Cheers, Tom. Bye-bye.
Bye.